then finishing off our Australian jaunt at Mount Panorama next week. It'll be certainly interesting to see how these GR86s go at Mount Panorama, but first we've got to attack this 13 turns of Sandown International Motor Raceway.
Yeah, two very different racetracks this week and next week, and how they're going to race. The elevation changes especially will be very different. You and I kind of joked they might have to get out and push those 86s up the hill next weekend. But here we are in the last minutes of qualifying here at Sandown. It's 2 laps or 8 minutes, whichever happens first. And right now that's Alberto Sepulta on the screen, just coming across the line there for his second lap, and does not set a faster one, Paul. A 1:21.625 will be his best.
Yeah, it's tricky is turn 1 here. It's difficult to get it right, and then you've got to be able to ride these curbs through the chicane there, and don't clip that inside curb too hard because you want to carry as much speed as possible down this back stretch through turn 5 and then picking up the speed. And I tell you what, one of the most fun parts of the track is coming up right now, this turn 6, 7, 8 and 9 section. It's a thrill ride. It's a real tricky section to get right. Get the car slowed down at the right time. You can really clamber over these curbs here at this chicane, but you've got to slow it right down for a 90-degree left-hander underneath the bridge through 10, which is a nothing corner here, and then you run through 11, and 12 sets you up for the run down the start and finish straight.
There's a lot going on. Here's Ken Reiner, by the way. He's the last car who has not set a lap. So Ken here, we believe to be out on his lap, going to try and make a run at it. Has about 2 minutes left in qualifying, so he should be able to get a lap in here, assuming he doesn't have any issues with that. He's currently coming right now down this straight and is going to have a great time. Now it's out of turn 5 into this very long, it's 1,000 yards of straightaway here, and then back up in those turns that Paul just talked about. Now, Paul, of course, this used to be a moto racing track for motorcycles, but those corners he referenced, 6, 7, 8, 9, those were a nightmare for the motorcycle drivers, and that's part of why they don't come here anymore.
Yeah, it's unfortunately, yeah, the motorcycles don't come here, and modern safety just keeps on pushing forward, and yeah, they don't quite have enough room around this circuit to be able to put certain amounts of runoff and things like that in. So as Jason Frey goes across the line, P2, second place by a 10th of a second. But it's a real sort of old school classic national circuit, and I love it.
That's a great track. Well, we're just about ready to get started here with the race. Let's go ahead and check out our grid and see how everybody qualified here at Sandown. Setting up on the poles, Angelo Bertani with a 1:21.292 with Jason Frey in P2. Row 2 is Johannes Korth and Miguel Angel Fonseca. And row 3 is Alberto Sepulta and Adam Whitehouse. Starting back in P7 is David Gamar with Sam Drought in P8 in row 4. Bjorn Alberts in 9th with Ken Reiner. He got up there to 10th place in that last second run. And then row 6 is Silas Goebel and Zach Barnes. And then our last driver on the grid for a 13-car run is Derek Thorpe, and he's about 1.7 seconds off of the Q pace. Well, we got a moment here, Paul, because this is a rolling start, so we're going to get a bit of a pace lap here. It's 21 degrees Celsius, so it's a fairly cool day. It's very overcast. There's no rain in the forecast, but very cool. So to be successful in these cars, Paul, what's your key to victory?
Key to victory, carrying the speed through corners. They're very much a momentum car of these because of their lack of horsepower compared to some, say, touring cars or GT cars. So definitely you want to be able to carry the momentum through corners. Riding the curbs as well, you've got to really attack some of the curbs around here to get this car going around here fast. But knowing which ones to avoid as well, because some of these curbs are a bit evil and will catch you out. So very much it's all about that momentum, especially down the front straightaway and that back straightaway.
And the momentum is what the 86s have had all month long, Paul. It's sort of the month of the 86s. They got their moment to shine. in the Nürburgring 24 special event here on iRacing, and now they get their moment to shine here on Friday night primetime live on RaceSpotTV. Out of the final corner, down through turn 13, the pace car will come down. In any moment now, we're waiting for Barney the flagman to make the call. We will be green flag racing and live at Sandown.
Good launch. Good launch from pole position. The actual start line is all the way down towards the end of the straight there, so a really early launch from Angelo Bertani. But now it's a case of getting onto the brakes and getting through these first few corners. It's very easy to get caught up in an instant through the chicane.
Lots of side-by-side battles up to the first few turns here. Now through turns 3 and 4 come the field. Everybody's up on that curve like Paul talked about, but now we're getting a single filed out. And now we'll get ready to come down for our first time under race conditions into this big 1,000-yard straightaway.
Problems for Sam Drought and Ken Reiner in those opening few corners. They've dropped to the back of the field. But meanwhile, Angela is not getting to run away with this one. Jason Frey is following and hot in his footsteps.
We're seeing a bit of a pull away here from the front too. It's Bertani and Jason Frey, as Paul hinted. You see that little bit of a gap between Korth and Fonseca for third and fourth. We'll see if this drafting line can get together, catch the field. Here's that battle on screen. 4, 5, 6, and 7 all there together. You can throw a blanket on them.
And Johannes Korth has got problems. He's got a slow down penalty. It was through that turn 6, 7, and 8 section. So he's trying to serve that offline and has to let everyone by. Oh, that is the worst feeling in all of sim racing.
And not only a worse feeling for him, Paul, but probably a worse feeling for anyone who wanted to draft him as well, because now he's sort of broken that draft line and has slowed down Fonseca and the others in the process.
Oh, right onto the brakes there, Jason Frey. My goodness.
Jason Frey's not slowed down.
Yeah, he's pushing. Oh, a little bit wide there, and that's the problem. You got to be careful. Oh, drama.
That is Alberto Sepulta back there. There's in the wall and turned sideways, I believe.
Oh, and more having issues there as well. We'll have a look at the replay here, Derek, but I have a funny feeling it's just hitting that curb and settling the car and getting the power.
See, it's the inside curb that got him, actually. The inside curb threw the car off balance. And the outside curb, it kept it moving. Look how big of a beast that car is, by the way. Maybe not at full speed, but that car bounced off the wall and just kind of kept ticking. Rolex watch.
It does have the mechanical meatball warning flag though, so it does have damage. Has to come down to pit road. Do get a fast repair in this series, so you can get repairs done. It's Derek Thorpe as well. He hit that curb hard. The inside ends up into the barrier.
So what causes that, Paul? Is it just a matter of they're on the gas too soon out of that, off of that corner, and the rev's too high? Is it an imbalance of the car? What causes that spot right there to be so deadly?
That inside curb there on turn 4 is quite a steep curb. It unsettles the car a lot, but you're also trying to get on the throttle as soon as possible to carry that speed. Oh, real roller coaster right there for Fonseca. But you're seeing how they're having to get on the throttle as soon as possible out of turn 4. And if that car is unsettled, it's quite a soft suspension on here, almost stock suspension on this car.
And that wasn't even the corner we saw the trouble in. Yeah, that wasn't even the corner we saw the trouble in. That was Fonseca in the corner before. That was turn 3 he got up in the air like that. So now it's Fonseca. He's got Whitehouse and Korth behind him here. And they're just trying to kind of follow along at a safe distance. So here now we're going to ride on board with Jason Frey. This is the battle for first and second, Paul. So right now, if you're Frey, how do you time this move properly? How do you make sure you make this move and make a clean pass?
You've got to be confident that you are quicker than the car in front as well, because as soon as you get in front, you're just going to be giving a draft to Bertani instead. So you've got to be patient here, but it is only a short 15-minute race, so you've got to make moves and take opportunities when they come. But that last lap, Bertani was just a little bit quicker than Frey behind.
Yep. Now the other thing to think about as well, when you're Jason Frey, the car second in line, that blue and white machine, is when you make this pass, you have to get it done The worst thing that could happen for both of you is you get side by side down these corners and you let Fonseca, Whitehouse, Korth, even Gamar get back in the fight.
Yeah, and that's the flip side of the coin as well. You want to get to the front, you want to try and challenge for the lead, but you've got to look at that gap and think, it's still not comfortable. If we do end up with some side-by-side action, we're slowing each other down and allowing that trio catch up here. But look at that, down the back straight, and you brake through the left, over the curb on the right, and then you're braking mid-corner. It's so difficult to get it absolutely spot on there lap after lap.
So, but our peer Arjuna Kankapati is out at Indianapolis this weekend for the real-life races. But I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about liveries in his honor. Look at that color of this car in the back here. That's sort of like that mint green and black and red. There's a flash in the headlights. He did not appreciate what he perceived to be a block there. But look at those colors on Korth's car. That is a unique livery, to say the best.
Yeah, I don't know why Korth was flashing the headlights there though, because it's up to you to actually make it past safely there. You're the one behind, you're the one who made the mistake on lap 1, so you've got to try and safely do that back to the front, and you can see them clambering all over these curbs. But yeah, as I say, watch that inside curb there and run it out wide.
Well, here's Zach Barnes, and that's in a separate corner, caught up on the curb again. Just got the car unsettled. This is right before, this is in 13, I believe, right there. There's just sort of markings on the ground for the grid marks and the start-finish line. So Barnes lost it there. But here we are, about 9 minutes left on the clock here. And right now, it's a 2-car race between Bartani and Frey. And they've put a very, very healthy 4-second gap on the cars behind them.
They certainly have, but what they have got to contend with is a little bit of lap traffic just down the road from them. Of course, it'll be COTA, who was on pit road to get repairs done. There you see him in the background of shot there. But these two, I don't think they're going to be catching up to him anytime soon, because he does have some good pace for COTA. He's only about half a second a lap slower than the race leaders at the moment, so these two should be fine.
Yeah, remember, we suspect Sepulta came in and got that fast repair done after that incident he had in the first couple of laps. So he should be at pace. Man, look at Frey, though. Now starting to move back and forth, trying to find that line, trying to find some air, trying to find that spot. Maybe you don't make it now. Oh! Put yourself in line. There's the Interstate Batteries machine. That's Sam Drought. He was in P9, and that number 3 machine has spun that car around. Let's watch it again here.
So this is a great overtaking opportunity here down into 1. Get onto the brakes hard, and look at that! Oh my goodness, that's missing your braking point. Who was that?
That's maybe not even a braking point of what that looked like. That just, wow. Yeah, I got way deep in there. Unfortunately, Drought just got clobbered of no doing of his own. That was, wow, that was insane. Here we are. This is Miguel Fonseca. Miguel's not a newbie to Race Spot. He's raced in the precision racing before, both in the trucks and in the road courses, so we've seen him before. He's trying to hold off Whitehouse and Korth as this race goes on. This is the battle for third, a very tight battle for third.
Yeah, really close between these, and they're not troubling the leaders here. I mean, Whitehouse was lapping quicker than the leaders on the previous lap, but they're not catching up here, and Whitehouse thinking, I want to get past here, onto the brakes, you're compromising yourself. Nice move, gets it done, but does it stick because you lose the inside line there?
Nope, did not make it stick. In fact, Fonseca has taken the lead of this pack back. And a quick fun thing about Fonseca, Paul, when he races in the Precision Racing League races on his webcam, he has his heart rate monitor up on the screen so you can see his beats per minute. His beats per minute in the middle of a draft pack at Daytona is possibly lower than my heart rate just watching him race at Daytona sometimes.
Oh,
there's Derek Thorpe, got the car barely turned around there.
Yeah, that was down at 9, actually, was that. So people are getting caught out by all of these tight turns.
Fonseca way up there in the curb in the back of that shot.
Yeah, and that's the problem you can have. Look at this. This is the opportunity now. 3 of them together.
There we go, side by side, down through 12, down through 13. Fonseca keeps the lead. In fact, there's that moment you talked about where Whitehouse didn't get the move correctly, and now he's lost fourth and is now back to fifth because he did not plan that pass as well as he thought he did. So now it's Fonseca being pushed by Korth, and Whitehouse now with a little bit of gap. Now here comes Korth down to the left side, going to try to set up the pass here into turn number 1. Gets the inside lane and makes it happen. Oh man, Fonseca way off course there.
Yeah, you're fortunate you don't get a slow down penalty going that far out of turn 1, but you can see that this is a great camera shot, by the way, the little gyroscopic camera, because it shows you just how steep these curbs are and how hard they're hitting them. And we're already 2/3 of the way through this race here, and these three have been giving us some great entertainment.
This has been the battle of the race so far. The tightest group on track. We're keeping an eye off screen on the leaders. You won't miss anything there. But man, look at this. Fonseca wants that spot back and tries to get it back here, but can't make it happen. He's all over the back end. Of course, I imagine there might be some yellow and red paint in the back of that car before this race is over.
Nothing wrong with a bit of Morse code. That'll just help him out there, just to say, hey, I'm here, I won't buy. Oh, big mistake! And that is what happens when you hit that curb hard.
That was a beautiful camera shot by our director. You saw it happen live, how high that car got. Watch it again. This man, those two tires were up off the ground forever, and Fonseca could not hold on to that car. So he will fall back in line, possibly use the fast repair, and then we got two car battles.
Yeah, Fonseca's on pit road. He's got the mechanical meatball warning flag, the black and orange circle flag, for those of you who don't know what I mean by meatball. Well, it looks like a meatball on a black flag. This battle for the lead, though, this has been simmering away, and I think Jason's just trying to bide his time, but as you can see, traffic up the road now, the number 8, so the recovering Alberto Sepulta trying his best to get whatever result he can out of this one.
And the gap that they're closing on Sepulta is not any fault of Sepulta. It's the fact that maybe, we had 2 long straightaways here. Oh, hold on. Hold them at 1,000 yards. They got side by side, and now they are down through these corners. We down, I believe, into the last couple corners here. And it's going to be Frey, Bertani, back and forth to turn 13. And it's going to be side by side down the line. If this were the last lap, this would be a drag race, Paul. And right now, it's Jason Frey barely. Look at that gap. There's no gap there as they come down to the line.
Oh, he's thinking that, oh, I do have the overlap. No, you don't, sunshine. And here comes Bertani, taking that wide run around the outside of the last corner. You can carry the speed, but no, you want to be on the inside. And Frey finally takes the opportunity, and it was all down to a mistake from our leader, or former leader.
Very minor mistake. Here's the Fonseca wreck again. Look at that, just right in the wall after he got up on the curbs too hard, and that puts Fonseca out of contention. Now they've caught Sepulta. I thought maybe they were trying to set the lap car up to be the moving pick or the moving chicane, but no, the pass got made well before then.
Yeah, that was very much Sepulta going, I'm not involved in this fight. You guys just sort yourselves out. I'll just try and finish this race and gather whatever I can out of this one. Korth, now that he's been released, last lap did catch up a little bit of time on these two, but that's because they were battling. Korth's pace just isn't enough to catch up with should be. Oh, this is going to be tight, whether it's 2 or 1 to go this time by.
Keep an eye on Barney the flagman. I believe it's still going to be 2 to go. We'll wait and see here what flag is displayed, but with about 1:28 on the clock as we come around here, we'll wait and see. I believe it's going to be 2 to go. We'll have to wait and get confirmation, but right now, if you're Bertani, you have fallen back. You have to try to outbreak a corner. You have to try to make a move here, and you have to try to keep your momentum.
I don't think Bertani can. To be honest, I think Frey has had the better race pace overall, and just bided his time, waited for the opportunity to arise, kept the pressure on. Meanwhile, Adam Whitehouse, he's recovering back. In fact, he's behind Bjorn Albert, who's been on a bit of a charge. 5 places gained this race.
Yeah, beautiful run. Here's the battle for 4th and 5th. Now they're going to come down here down this long straight. This is between turns 5 and 6. That's 1,000 yards. It's the longer one of the two straights, only by a little. So we'll see what Bjorn can do here, if he can set up a draft, set up a pass, and see if he wants to dig something into turn 6. Nope, just stay behind here and get through these S's you talked about earlier. There's very, very dangerous S's.
Keeping an eye on the leaders because they are coming to the final couple of corners, and I do believe that they're going to get the white flag this time. Yep, there it is, Barney waving that white piece of cloth. One more lap to go, and this is the opportunity for Bertani.
Well, here it is for Bertani. This is everything you could want. This is one shot, one opportunity. You get one chance at this. More than likely, he's going to go to the outside here, heading into turn 1. He's going to try now to create the cut back. No, he stays to the outside here and wants to set up maybe an inside run to turn 2. Nope, still right there. Oh, up on the curbs and almost lost the car right there. And now we got ourselves a race here down into turn 4, turn 5. There's been some problems here. No problems with these drivers. One more time down this back straightaway.
I think it's too far back. I just feel he's a little bit too far back to get the run down here into 6, 7, 8, and 9. 9 is probably one of the best last opportunities to have. You can have a desperation move into 11 and 12. But yeah, we'll have to see how it goes, but he's close.
He's a little later on the brakes into turn 6, caught up some of the gap. Now down through these corners, as you said, that's turn 9, coming through turn 10. And you're right, it seems like the gap may be too much, but it's not for lack of effort, because Bertani's all over the back end of this car here. Now do turns 11, 12, and 13 for the final time. Once again here, as we come to the checker flag on Friday Night Primetime, it looks like it's going to be a drag race.
He's done it. He's
done it. Jason Frey is your winner. He has won in the butt kicker GR86 Cup races.
Yeah, good race there. Really enjoyed that, and the battle for third place was fun for the early stages of the race, and then your two race leaders duking it out towards the end. That's what we want to see, and it was really fun and clean between the two of them as well. Good stuff.
Great racing all the way around. Let's take a look at how everyone finished here in the GR86 races. We'll take a moment so the race officials can get our results together. It's Jason Frey, winners by 0.2 of a second over Angelo Bertani. Johannes Korth and Adam Whitehouse and Bjorn Alberts round out your top 5. Sam Drought, the Ohio native, in P6. Zach Barnes in P7. Ken Reiner, fellow Texan with Zach Barnes, 7th and 8th right there. Miguel Fonseca recovered back for a P9, and David Gemmer in P10. Then rounding out the field, Derek Thorpe in 11th, Alberto Sepulta in 12th, and then 6 laps down was Silas Scoble, and that rounds out your 13-car field. Well, Paul, there were exciting moments for all 15 minutes of this race at different parts of this track. This track was once used for horse racing, but it's definitely made its name as an auto racing track.
And it's one that just produces all the excitement. And of course, next week these drivers get to attack Mount Panorama at Bathurst, one of the most historic venues in all of world motorsport, and a very unforgiving circuit around there. If you thought it was tough around Sandown, well, it steps up several gears around Mount Panorama.
That'll be 1 week from today. Friday Night Primetime, we'll start with Mount Panorama. I suspect and I predict, Paul, there'll be a couple more bumps and bruises on these cars at Bathurst than there were at Sandown.
Yeah, the run down, up Mountain Straight and also down the Conrod Straight as well. These GR86s, they draft very well, and we should see plenty of side-by-side action in that one in just a week's time. But yeah, the GR86s, they were the very good starter, and then we're getting on to a bit of a main course coming up next for the Super Formulas at Circuit of the Americas. This is a circuit, it's divisive, is what I would say. I love this track. A lot of people don't, though.
Divisive is one word for it. Now it's time for the Super Formula Lights, the Fixed series here live on Friday Night Primetime. I'm still Derek Watson, he's still Paul Smith, and now we've gone from Australia to Texas, just like that. Well, look at that iconic hill that heads into turn 1 It cannot be mistaken. Well, here we go. Week 11, Circuit of the Americas. And then next week, you were excited for this when we looked at the schedule before we went live. Watkins Glen Classic Boot.
I mean, if you want drafting, then that is certainly the track that you want to race at next week, and no bus-stop chicane. But look at that, Circuit of the Americas, 20 turns, a Herman Tilke designed track. I've seen it from several thousand feet flying out of Austin Bergstrom Airport a few years ago, so I've never been to the track, but I would love to go there one day. And it's that section through turns 3 through to turn 9, kind of inspired by Silverstone with the Maggots Beckett section. It's certainly got a feeling of that to it, but these cars, they're quite grippy, to say that they've not got the most downforce to them. They're relatively low powered cars. They're so much fun. I love driving these.
Yeah, these are fun cars to see go around this circuit. Some of the newer cars on the circuit. We saw a small spin there right at the end of what I believe to be the practice session. There's that iconic difficult corner right there. That's that one. I call it the more than 90-degree corner. There's lots of names for it. And in race day in real life, there can be an observation tower right there, Paul, where people can stand above that corner and watch all the action.
Yeah, turn 11 is really crucial corner on this track. It's an overtaking opportunity for you, but also it's important to get the run out of that corner to carry the speed down that back straightaway. 30 degrees track temperature, 28 degrees air temperature. Unfortunately, Derek, I don't know what that is in freedom units, but it's warmer, but it's not too hot.
It's going to convert summer to about 90 degrees Fahrenheit, give or take a few bits of a degree. But yeah, it's a very, very hot day. Of course, we're in Texas, where it's known to be hot. Of course, once again, unfortunately, no chance of rain, much to Paul and I's dismay. No rain today on Friday night prime time. But here we are. We're watching the number 6 machine of Sandberg get around this course, and it's going to make a big left-hand corner, and locked it up. Got in there a little too hot.
And this is just their out laps, isn't it? So nobody's on a hot lap yet in terms of getting their lap times in, but still the preparation of the tyres and everything like that as well, it's important. You know, you want to get the most grip out of these tyres, but for these cars it's actually quite a long circuit. Is this? It's 5.5 kilometers long, so just nearly 3.5 miles.
3.42 miles, yep.
Oh, there you go, that's quick top of the brain maths there. And it's a tricky track because it is quite a technical track, is this. So you've got to get your lines right, you've got to get your tyres prepared, but you don't want to push the tyres too hard, or else you will end up burning through them, and by the end of the race you can be a little bit of a sitting duck.
Yeah, remember this is 5 minutes longer than our last race. We just saw 20 minutes total. Here's Keen Berta coming down the front straight. And there he goes up that iconic hill into turn 1. Possibly, by my mind, one of the scariest turn 1s in all of road racing.
I will see you and raise you Oschersleben.
Oh, yeah. There are definitely worse ones, but as far as like the uphill, you don't know what's in turn 1 until you get there. It sort of reminds me of Road America in a sense, right? With that big uphill right at the start finish line. Well, here's Robert Ridgway, the number 4 machine, racing in that blue and yellow machine. Makes the left-hand corner here. He's going to now come around and come to the start finish line himself. See how he does here.
So this is the start of the lap then for Robert, and as you were saying, climb up a steep hill here. You can brake light because gravity helps you, and then you plunge downhill through there to start your lap. As there's a few Formula 1 liveries, and we all know what they say about Formula 1 liveries on race cars on iRacing. They could be producing some of the more exciting moves of the race.
Yeah, exciting is a word that some people use for sure. There's going to be a much bigger field as well than we just saw. Last race was 13 cars. This race, we are 20 plus. We are, I think, 25 cars deep in this race. So a few more cars, a bit better speed, and probably a little bit more calamity.
This is a fantastic turn then. It's basically it's a mirror image of Turkey's turn 8 is this, the quadruple apex corner here, and it really is a tricky one. And I'm happy to say that we're not running the NASCAR track limits, because I tell you, as the advocate for strict track limits, I do believe that you should keep it within the white lines.
Well, yeah, the NASCAR track limits depends. In iRacing, the NASCAR track limits are very, very strict. In real life, maybe not so much, but here's Robert Ridgway now coming around again. Got that camera up on the front left tire, and now we move back a little bit here. You know, I had a chance last October, Paul, to do some work in real life where I got to go down to a convention and help run a couple of sim rigs, and we had this track loaded up that people could hot lap on. And watching someone race this track who's never seen the track before, it's very interesting because it's not the most easiest of road courses.
Oh no, it's a real challenge, and as I said, it's a very technical track, and you have to learn the lines around here. You have to learn where you can maybe cut across the inside of curbs a little bit, or know exactly where you can extract those times. But even like this, like the hairpins, turn 1 especially, if you're on a single monitor, if you're racing this on a single monitor, it is pretty much impossible to see that apex at all when you're turning in. So every time, every lap, you're going to be getting a different apex line through there, and that's where the advantage of either being in VR or having triple monitors can really help you around this track in particular.
Well, for the second race in a row, we have a pretty interesting green-colored car. This is green and pink. This is Rafael Jankowski here in the number 16 machine. That is a very bright race car. No one will ever say they didn't see him on track. There is no excuse to run into him, even if there's a wreck, because that car is visible from miles away with those colors.
Certainly is, and time's pretty close at the front as car number 1 coming through. This is Andrea Castro finishing off the lap. It's very easy to invalidate a lap round here, and if people are wondering what I mean by that, it means exceeding those track limits. It's very easy to go over the white lines. If you are deemed to have gone off track here in iRacing, it will give you an incident point, so 1 incident point. Oh, that'll be that's 2 incident points for losing control there. But as soon as you gain any incident point at all in a qualifying lap, it invalidates that lap time. You do not set a time for that lap, so it's important. You've got to push, but at the same time, you've got to be within the limits and within the bounds of the track.
Yeah, you do, and it's very, very easy here with how tight these corners are and how slow these corners need to be to keep yourself a little too far off. But here's Matthias Van Dam finishing up his laps and going to rack about 45 seconds left. So I'd imagine anyone left here. There's only a couple cars who haven't qualified at this point, so it's like 19th on back now, 20th on back. Not set a lap time here. Here's Matthias here in the number 17 machine, that beautiful orange livery. Now coming down here, it's going to make a left-hand corner, just trying to get some speed in. Almost too wide out of the corner, though.
Yeah, it's not an ideal line. Does get himself into 13th, so not bad. 7th row of the grid for him, but yeah, these drivers... Castro's not going to finish his lap here. This is just him getting some last-second practice here around this section.
Yeah, getting used to the car possibly, and being ready to go here when we start gridding. Well, speaking of gridding, we are done with qualifying, Paul, and I believe our grid is set. So for the second time today on Friday Night Primetime, let's take a look at our starting grid and see how these drivers will line up for the start. It is Haiti Noah Mimazzi in P1 with a 1:56.296, with Keen Berta on the outside, only a 1/10 of a second off. Roland Alfredson and Andre Castro, 3rd and 4th. You got Claudio Maldi, the Italy native, with Mark Swan in P6. Michael Ziccola and Marco Mandelli in 7th and 8th, with Robert Ridgway and Etienne Lafarge one of our French natives here in P10. And then Brady Warwick and Chris Wirtz rounding out your top 12. Moving back through the grid, P13 is Mateus here in the number 17 machine, and 13th with Danny Felipe in P14. Spencer Ross and Simone Pergo, 15th and 16th. Then you got Andre there in the number 19 machine with Patrick Williams in P18. Mateus Van Dam and Pierre Sandberg. Then Charles Kitts, Rafael Jankowski, Stefan Papaku, and Barry Hill, 23rd, 24th. And last but not least, Francisco Machado, one of our Brazilian natives, in P25. Well, here we are. We're waiting for everyone to get on the grid and ready to go. And I'm going to ask you the same question I asked last time, Paul. As we look at the track temps up to 29 degrees Celsius, what is the key to victory in the Super Light Formula race, or Super Formula Light race at COTA?
Keep it clean, keep the car undamaged, and try and use the draft as much as possible. As here we go.
Here we go. Everybody's ready to go. Standing start and green flags in the air. We are live from Austin, Texas at the virtual COTA Raceway. Oh, look at that squeezing right there up the front very quickly, first and second. Squeezing 3 wide behind him into turn 1.
Yeah, you can carry the speed around the outside there. Got to be careful, cold tyres and brakes to start with. So, got to be aware of that as we're going through the S's the first time. And of course, following closely between each other, you are going to lose a little bit of grip, a little bit of downforce on these cars. But they've not got the most aero, as we've got problems there for Lafarge.
Yeah, Lafarge lost it quickly through the S and spun right into a wall. Sure, we'll see that later. Watch it here. It's going to happen. It's going to be maybe a little bit of contact. And this backs it right into the wall there, unfortunately for Lafarge. So lap 1, Lafarge issues here at COTA. But now back live racing here. Green flag conditions. Now you see him lined up in that line, trying to use that draft you talked about, Paul, to see who can get the best run.
Castro's had a launch and a half at the start here, but look at the leader, 1.7 seconds clear. He's trying to make a breakaway from these, and while they're all fighting, the leader's just going to keep on pulling away and get out that draft.
Yeah, Haiti Noah Mamasi is thrilled, must have the biggest grin on his face, because that gap is growing as they're racing side by side behind him. But lots of passing happening in this group. Look at that beautiful dive right there. Oh man, I was going to make a stick.
Oh, that's what you've got to be careful of if you take in different lines. It's just getting not accelerating into the gearbox of the car in front of you that's made the move. So it's very, very tricky in this early going. And look at that, down the inside is the 7, and Zakola to the inside gets the move done, and Warwick's going to try and follow through.
And almost 3 wide racing again is where they were. There's 2 wide racing down this front straight. Oh, that green and yellow car wanted to make it 3 wide, but he thought the better of it. Now uphill into turn 1. They're going to make that left-hand corner kind of blind. Now down that hill like you talked about. And now they'll get through here and ready to go through his S's one more time.
It's such a thrilling part of the track, especially in a car. Any sort of high downforce or car that's got aero on it, it is a thrill ride to go through here. Such an enjoyable section of the track. Cut the inside of that curb nicely there to open up that left-hander. But you can see how just following along in the draft of the cars in front through that section, it just really makes the front end wash out. So you've got to be careful. That's a dive. Good grief. Wow. Good on the brakes.
Good grief. That was Claudia Maldi, I think, diving down on the swan there, trying to really make a swan dive into that corner, if you will.
I haven't got my drum kit at hand. That's a Popescu having issues out the final turn, and how close was that?
Break. Oh my goodness. Well, I'll tell you what, the more impressive part for that Popescu is he somehow got that thing spun right around there and didn't hit anything.
Took to pit road straight away. So, Lafarge around again with Salt with the contact on lap 1. Yeah, problems there for Etienne, and in fact is on pit road right now. This is earlier on as well for Bluschek, as found the wall there.
Yeah, maybe a little help there in that little 2 and 3 wide racing pack you saw. But there's some cars now gathering on pit road for a little car club meeting while the race is happening live. About 16 minutes left here to go. And as we said, your leaders pulled away. You see the gains and losses on your side of your screen here. Let's see, Brady Warwick up 4 is a big one. Who else? I think Spencer Ross up 4. And then, unfortunately, then you see the negatives, down 11 for Keen Berta.
Barry Hill, 9 places is an impressive charge from the back of the field. So has been working his way through to try and just avoid all that chaos in the first lap or two. And then to go ahead. But this is the driver who is absolutely on a charge right now. Edinoa Mimase, and the UK and Ireland driver representing his iRacing club very well right now on Friday Primetime.
As a fellow UK native, you must be proud.
Oh, absolutely, yes. I always keep an eye on all of the Club UK and Ireland drivers.
All right, well, P8, 9, and 10. Here we are. This is Mandelli, COTA, and Chris Wirtz, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Only about, maybe a second to a second and a half between them here, between the 3 cars. And there's not that much gap to the cars behind them. So a lot of drafting, a lot of interesting moves being made here back in the pack. A lot of opportunities to pass are available. Let's see who can use them properly here to make that corner again. Oh man, look at how tight. Look at me. There were like 3 or 4 different lines being used there, Paul. No one used an identical line.
I think Mandelli had to actually get off of the line to avoid the back of not Zakola's car, of Warwick's car. Almost ended up breaking into the gearbox of Warwick's car, so took to a wide line, and that just opened the door then for Zakola to put a nose through and go through. These cars, I will say, the slipstream, the draft, is very strong in these cars, and if you can stick with the car in front, you can really get some good some good tow, some good pull along these straights.
So we're talking about the pull along in the draft and how strong it is, but look at that. Your race leader just set the fastest lap of the race. So while the draft is strong, sometimes comfort in a car, open air, and skill can be just as powerful.
Well, and that's the benefit of being out at front and having that gap there, is that you can just manage your race. You can control how fast you are pushing, and you feel more relaxed. You're more at one with the car as you're going through, and yeah, that's what you've got to try and achieve. It's very rare that I achieve it, Derek. I did do it on Tuesday in a touring car race, and I got in the lead and got a back gap, and then I was just pulling away and I wasn't even pushing. And it's amazing how that can happen when you get a gap at the front.
Yeah, look at this battle happening here and through that deep left-hander. Now down through the straightaway here. But you're right, that open air can mean so much to a driver. But this is Chris Wirtz and Spencer Ross, 10th and 11th on your screen. Now it's Ross and Keen Berta, 11th and 12th as the battle continues on. And there's just lots of 2-car packs here. That's going to be a pass. That's a nice job. That's Lafarge, right? Yeah, that's Etienne Lafarge, who's had a couple incidents this race, trying to climb his way back to the field.
Oh, I don't know if it was Lafarge. Actually, I think it was Berto. There's a couple of cars running the same livery as we see Vetz and Mandelli swapping places. I think Mandelli must have maybe just a little bit of damage, maybe to the floor of the car or something. That's something that I alluded to, was the fact that you've got to keep the car clean. You've got to keep it undamaged, because it will just slow the car down. Any form of damage to the under tray, especially the floor of the car, you'll feel that down those straights, just losing several miles an hour on the cars around you. So keeping the car clean is key here, and I think that's what we're maybe seeing from Mandelli.
And it's so key because, obviously we're not going to pit in this race, only a 20-minute race, but in a longer race, it's key to not have to eat up that time on pit road to try to fix the car, or be concerned that maybe it doesn't ever get fixed, and you just have to deal with that condition for however long your race is. Look at that beautiful shot of the S's here. Just shows you how fast and how technical those S's are. Well, Paul, if you're a fan of open wheel racing, and many of us are, it's been a beautiful week for you in iRacing. Lots of announcements this week. There was an announcement of the partnership with the F4 for that championship series is coming around, and that announcement this week is the announcement of the IndyCar series. That's the Pro IndyCar series, and that's going to happen at least partially, if not completely, here on RaceSpotTV.
Yeah, I know we've got the qualifiers, haven't we, on RaceSpot, and that is, I'm looking forward to that. I'm so glad that IndyCar has come home to iRacing. It just feels right to be able to say that, okay, we're not going to have it in the month of May, but we're going to have the iRacing Indy 500 coming up at the start of June. So I love the month of May as a motorsport fan. It has just got so much excitement and truly historic events. And when you think this weekend in the real world, we've got Indy, we've got the Monaco Grand Prix, and we've got the COTA 600 as well.
Yeah, it's a beautiful month of racing, both virtually and real life. But Brady Warwick and Michael Zakola having a beautiful little battle here for 7th and 8th. Only about a half a second between them. And there's another fast lap by your leader. So he is continuing to set down hot laps and continue to build that gap here of 3 seconds. But you're right, look at it in May and June for iRacing. We just completed the 24 hours of Nürburgring. We're then going to do the Indy 500s. We have a Week 13 update coming soon with all brand new content and updates to the sim. We've got the Watkins Glen 6 hour the weekend after that, or 2 weekends after that, I believe, pardon me. So a very, very busy month for sim racers, just like the real life racers.
Don't forget as well, the iRacing COTA 600 as well.
I did that last night. That was long 4.5 hours last night. Yeah, that's a long race.
So that's coming up tonight. In about 4 hours' time, is that on the iRacing esports network of channels? I don't know where.
Myself and Evan Pasoko, in fact.
Yeah. I tell you what, I've done Talladega, and that was enough for me. That was too much intense racing for me.
I suspect Top Split LAS tonight will be just as intense, even though it's Charlotte, so I'm looking forward to it. Sitting next to my good friend Evan Pasoko and making it happen. But here's another 2-car battle on track here. That beautiful red and yellow livery here. And that is Brady Warwick again being chased up by Zakola. So if you're in the seat where Zakola is right now, Paul, what is your best opportunity or your best method, to get around Warwick?
It's to try and force a mistake out of Brady. Try to force that mistake out that car in front, but I mean the way that Brady's been moving forward 4 places compared to Zakola losing 1 from where he started, and trying just alternate lines through certain corners. Try and force Warwick to go a little bit defensive offline into some of these tighter corners, so that then you can get the better, more advantageous racing line to carry the speed through some of these tight corners, and just try anything to keep in the mirrors of the car in front, try to distract them just to force that mistake, because right now Warwick is looking good for that 7th place, although it's not guaranteed.
Now we moved up to the battle for 4th and 5th. That's Mark Swan right here in P4 with Claudio Maldi back there in P5. So they're running around here. Now I've noticed as this race is kind of filtered out, we're more than halfway through, we're seeing a lot of 2-car battles, not really 3 or 4-car battles. Mostly there's 2s. Does that have something to do with the aerodynamics of the car? Is it just kind of how this race settles out? What do you think causes these 2-car battles to stick together?
I think it's a combination of how these cars drive in terms of the aerodynamics, but also with the design of the track. As we've kept on alluding to, it's quite a technical track, and it's difficult to follow other cars through those medium to high speed corners. Here's Zakola using that slipstream. It doesn't guarantee you the place, but it does get you into the spot. Lock of the brakes though, and there's Warwick coming back.
Warwick has a chance here because Zakola locked up the brakes. They're side by side through that corner. Now they're going to be side by side again. Zakola's going to have the inside lane for a couple of turns. Now it's Warwick who gets the inside lane, and Zakola locked up the tires again, and Warwick should be able to pull back out here to the front as we head towards the S's.
Yeah, and then again through 16, 17, 18, such a thrill ride through there, flat out into 19, carry the speed over the curbs, And it's a really tricky final corner as this. It's quite a slow corner, so it does give you an overtaking opportunity, especially on a last lap. Throw a move down the inside. I've seen it time and again with cars. Throw a move, all four wheels just completely locked up, smoke everywhere, but somehow able to make a move stick in there on the final lap. It's spectacular when it does get close like that.
And the good news for both Warwick and COTA, by the way, is that Robert Ridgway is now coming into their view a little bit. That's the car ahead of them in P6. If the camera zooms around a little further here, we may see, there he is, right there. That's Ridgway. It felt like for a moment they were sort of in an island by themselves, but it feels like they're slowly catching the Illinois native of Robert Ridgway.
I've got a little thing on my timing screen. I've got a separate timing screen which gives me a 5-lap average, and the cars behind are lapping about 1/10 of a second faster each lap than Ridgway. So 5 minutes remaining. I don't think Robert will be feeling too much pressure, but he will be noticing that gap coming down, and it's round about now that that slipstream starts to take effect. Once you get about 1.3 seconds, it really does take effect.
Well, the tires are wearing out, the track's getting a little bit more rubbered up, everything's happening, but for your leader, it's all positive things. Look at that gap, 4.2, almost 4.3 seconds over Andre Castro. As long as Haiti Noah Mamasi can keep this car pointed straight and safe, he has likely guaranteed himself a win here in this official race. There's a beautiful pass right there. Look at that. Just used that big steep corner and cut inside. Now down to this big, long right-hander you talked about. Feels like it goes on forever, Paul.
Oh yeah, it does. And when you get it right, it is just such a rewarding corner. Spencer Ross it was in that Senna Tribute livery, getting the move done then on Mandelli, who Mandelli's been falling backwards through this field, and that's why I think there's just a little bit of damage that we can't see to that car. But with 4 minutes remaining, we should have about 3 laps worth of action for you here, so do stick around, because there's these fights here. There's quite close actually for second place as well, I've noticed on the timing tower on the left hand side of your screen.
Yeah, lots going on here, so maybe we can go find Andre Castro. There it is. And this is Brady Warwick and Michael COTA. He's 7th and 8th. This is a close battle. 2nd and 3rd is a close battle. There's all kinds of stuff happening around this track. There's no lack of action. And there's Andre Castro, and then Roland Alfredsen behind him. Less than a full second is what the gap is here. Look at that. That's all it is. You see it on the camera there. And of course, you know, Paul, if drivers in this series are lucky, because this is sort of a step up, or this is a series that lets you step up later to the regular Super Formula. So if you get good at the lights, there's more content available in iRacing for you to race with.
I think this has been a brilliant addition to iRacing. As I say, I've been doing a few, not every round of this official series, but I've been doing a few rounds of the series in this car. I'm no Formula car driver. I'm very much a GT and touring car driver myself, but these cars are just so much fun. And again, with them not having the most power compared to the Super Formula cars, similar to the GR86s that we saw earlier this evening on Primetime, you've got to be able to carry speed through the corners and keep that momentum up.
Right there. It's a beautiful thing Michael COTA did there, by the way. Another thing to keep in mind is sometimes not killing your speed. And when Warwick gets up in that grass, he does slow that car down a little bit, and it helps COTA. But here we are crossing the line. About 2 minutes left here, so I suspect 2 laps left is what we'll probably face here. We'll wait and see when the leader crosses the line. But here's COTA trying to pressure Warwick, trying to make it happen. But not quite yet. They're going to come down here through the track, and we'll see if COTA can find any speed again. You're right, though. He might need Warwick to mess up for him to get that spot back.
Yeah, there's the more that we're seeing them, the more that we're not seeing COTA being able to make some moves and to make them stick. It is quite close here though through the S's, so can potentially look at getting a slipstream. It's all about the run out of this next corner here, the hairpin. Get the line right, get your throttle application right, and look behind them, because Keen Nakamura, Berta is right there with them as well, so this could be a trio of cars going for 6th place, 7th place soon.
Now we have 2 3-car battles. You got 7th, 8th, and 9th on your screen. Hopefully in a moment we'll flip back to, I think it's, what, 12, 13, 14, even 15 all right there together. So as these cars are leveling off at the end of the race, we're seeing some battles heat up here. COTA now to the outside of Warwick. Now he's going to try to make the crossover and get in here, and he does. He has reclaimed a P7 for the moment over Warwick. Warwick now back to the inside of the corner, and they're just going back and forth who has the momentum. But I think COTA has now officially made the pass.
Yeah, but this one isn't over. This is going to go to the final lap, is this one. I can assure you of that. Brady Warwick will keep on pushing towards the end, but there's the leader onto the final lap then. One more tour around this track, and Mamasi, we've barely seen him all race, and it's been thrilling to see him up there at the front, but look at how close these three are for 7th.
Oh my goodness, look at this. Berta now trying to get back into this after qualifying super well. Now stuck in this battle with Warwick and COTA. COTA locks it up really hard in this corner for the final time. They'll come through it and somehow kept that lead of that battle despite all the smoke off those tires. Contact possible, but doesn't happen with Warwick and Berta. Man, there's contact again. How are they not sideways after that contact?
Oh, this is intense between these two. No, it's not camping. It is just that intense is this stuff. Brilliant to watch these three. And the thing is, they're still quite close to COTA. COTA are looking in the rearview mirrors right now going, I don't like the look of how big those cars are in my mirror. Especially
COTA saying, hit him again.
Here.
COTA's like, hey, bump him again. I liked that part. COTA's happy whenever these guys get side by side, but now here they are. So this is the battle, the closest battle we have on screen. Your leader still has almost that 5-second gap over everybody else. So he'll, of course, take the checkered flag unless something happens. But we're watching this battle right here. Man, Warwick's now going to fall back again, I believe. And now Keen Berta's now going to pass him, and Warwick's going to fall back to P9.
Yeah, but at the front, final 2 corners, what a drive for Mamasi.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you want to look up the word domination in the dictionary, take a screenshot right here off your screen and post it in your dictionary, because Haiti Noah Mamasi has dominated here at COTA and victorious in the Super Formula Lights. All right, let's go back to our action. This is a beautiful battle happening here, back through the field. And that's now COTA. That right there is Berta. That's locked tires again by both drivers, and Warwick could not get there. This is how they're going to finish 7th, 8th, and 9th in that order. There's a battle happening back here. That's Spencer Ross, I believe, right there on the outside.
Yeah, they're tight between the two of them across the line there, and Wets and Hill, Kits, Felipe. It was that tight battle towards the middle of the pack there, but some great action here at Circuit the Americas. Last couple of cars coming across the line.
What a busy 20 minutes that was. It went by fast. And let's see how they all ended up in the final order here. It's Haiti Noah Mamasi in P1 by over 5.4 seconds. Roland Alfredson in P3 in the number 5 machine. And then Mark Swan and Claudio Maldi round out your top 5. Robert Widgway and Michael Zacola in P6 and 7. With Keen Berta, Brady Warwick, and Spencer Ross rounding out your top 10. Go back to P11 for Simone Porrego, the Florida native, with Chris Wirtz in 12th and Barry Hill in 13th. Charles Kitts and Danny Felipe round out your top 15. Andre Wazowski and Marco Mandelli, P16 and 17. Rafael Jankowski, Pierre Sandberg, and Mateus Van Dam round out your top 20. Then it's Patrick Williams, Etan Lafarge, Stefan Popescu, and Matiz Belu in P24. And that rounds out your 24-car field. Well, Paul, that was a very, very busy, very, very tight, and very, very active 20 minutes of racing here at COTA.
It certainly was. And, well, if you think that was fun, next week they stay in North America but head to upstate New York. Watkins Glen on the classic boot layout. Plenty of draft is going to be happening there, and that one will be an absolute thrill ride. You won't want to miss that next week on Friday Primetime.
going to be a great time next week, 1 week from today, here on Friday Night Primetime. But for now, it's time we say goodbye. I've been Derek Watson. He's been Paul Smith. Our producer has been Rafael Cisneros. And we thank you for watching here live on RaceSpotTV.